Guys, I am dressed up, I'm caffeinated. Let's talk some zombies. Yo, what is up guys, and welcome back to McAD's Entertainment. I'm your host as always, Adam McGahee. So of course you guys know me as the Marvel Zombies guy, and with this being my given duty in life, it would be an absolute disservice not to dissect the newest Marvel Zombies show trailer frame by frame like it's Giant Man dissecting Black Panther's tasty limbs. Gotta love that dark meat. But before we hop into things, as always, I wanted to mention that our superhero fitness program is live. If you're looking to get into superhero shape this year, follow us on Instagram at McAD's Fitness. You can shoot me a message with code SUPER, and I'll send you our free 2-week superhero training plan. Here's to your superhero origin story. With that out of the way, let's hop right into things. So the first part of the trailer opens up with the loud and proud disclaimer that this show will be rated TVMA, making this one of Disney Marvel's first animated projects. Something I'm quite excited for, given the gore and intense violence from the original run of the Marvel Zombies comics. In this scene, we see what appears to be a normal, non-super zombie walking through some sort of swamp-like area, where he soon gets domed right in the head by an arrow. His corpse then collapses to the ground, where we see a person approach and retrieve their weapon. While at first glance you may think this is Clint Barton's Hawkeye, let's not forget he was zombified in the What If Zombies episode back in Season 1 of What If. This series will be in the same universe and continue with the events of the What If episode, so I doubt that Zombie Hawkeye will be doing that to his zombie boys. You know, unless they really deserved it. I think this is going to be Kate Bishop. Haley Steinfeld is already confirmed to be in the show as the new Hawkeye, so I'd almost guarantee that this is her. It could end up being some random survivor who's a great shot, but I think we can safely assume this will be Kate, showcasing what she's been up to during the apocalypse. Next we get a frame of a ton of zombies sprinting down a set of stairs. Not really much to call out here, other than the fact that they look terrifying and awesome. And they can run. Running zombies are always much cooler and scarier than their slow, lazy counterparts. Come on, slow zombies. Let's hit the gym and get that cardio up. One other call out is that these zombies have glowing red eyes. Judging from what I have been seeing, I believe this may be an indicator that these zombies are being controlled by an undead Scarlet Witch. In the original What If episode, the zombies had non-glowing, yellow-tinted eyes, so it would definitely appear some sort of mind control is at work. This seems to be a fun Easter egg and call out to Call of Duty Zombies lore, for depending upon the color of the zombies' glowing eyes, in those games that would determine which villain was controlling the undead at the time. I'm no COD Zombies expert by any means when it comes to lore or gameplay, but huge respect to the people that do. You guys are the real heroes. Next we get a shot of what appears to be some undead soldiers coming out of the ground. I'm guessing these are US soldiers. Perhaps that means we may get an appearance of Rhodey as War Machine. Maybe he's at a US Army base when this happens, and we may get a sick scene of him going hand to hand in an Iron Man suit, beating the snot out of undead like he did in Marvel Zombies Return. I do doubt that this would happen, but it would be really cool to see. We then get a brief scene of what appears to be Katie's character portrayed by the actress Awkwafina. For anyone who needs a refresher, she played Shang-Chi's best friend in the movie Shang-Chi. Here we see her nearly get hit by a train car overrun by the zombies. And judging by their clothing and location of this scene, it appears that the zombie apocalypse may be happening alongside the events of the original Shang-Chi movie, as this train car even looks like the one where Shang fought Razor Fist in the original film. Then we get this really cool look at a zombie Okoye leading a whole army of zombies, where they are menacingly waiting on a pier during an intense rainstorm. Now let's not forget that Okoye was directly infected by Wanda in the What If episode, so maybe that granted her higher ranking authority amongst the others, and perhaps maybe even some elevated intelligence. Only time will tell. I'm also guessing, judging by the size of the army and overall cinematic framing of this shot, that this may be the zombies waiting for the big final battle sequence that we may get in the last episode. Next we get a shot of some military choppers tearing up some zombies with their guns. Maybe this could be Rhodey again with his military buddies. Not too much to read other than it's sick to see a ton of zombies getting torn up with a Gatling gun. Now it could be someone else, which I'll get to later in the video. Then we get one of the first true rated R moments of the trailer, where we see a poor guy get a Kano Mortal Kombat fatality done to him as he gets his heart torn out by a zombie. Heck, I mean, the zombie even kinda looks like Kano. Honestly, this probably is Mortal Kombat Easter egg after all, come to think of it. Now, while I first watched the trailer, I was not sure who this guy was who gets killed. At initial glance, I thought it may have been Peter Quill, but signs are actually pointing to this actually being Baron Zemo from Civil War and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That's honestly fascinating because, in truth, I did forget about this guy. But I am curious to see what role he plays in this story, aside from getting his heart yanked out, of course. Then we get what appears to be another scene from the potential final battle, where we see Okoye once again squatted up with Zombie Hawkeye, Abomination, Ghost, and then Zombie Captain America, where the camera is purposefully focused up facing on him, because now he's much shorter than his co-stars on account of Bucky cutting him in half in the What If episode. He's still likely taller than Tom Cruise though. In the very next scene, we see Abomination bound into the air and sprint towards the camera with an entire legion of zombies behind him as Hawkeye prepares his bow. Judging from the sky color, it appears to be the same exact scene from this potential final battle. Next we see Zombie Cap give out a vicious roar, and then things cut to Okoye and the Undead Avengers facing in the camera's direction. Now this image actually leaked a week or two prior to the trailer coming online, and given the red tinted lighting on the army here, it leads me to think that they are facing and potentially conversing with zombie Scarlet Witch. It certainly seems to be the case, and makes me wonder even further if the zombies will be able to talk like they did in the comics. We then hear Yelena mention that they are coming for us, where we then get a bunch of zombies doing a Naruto run. Never took the undead for also being weebs, but hey, I guess anime is so good these days that even the dead are emulating it. This all appears to be during the climactic battle event, for we then witness a series of explosions where we see what appears to be Shang-Chi holding off the hordes. We then see a scene of Shang talking with what I imagine to be Katie as he tells her that we have a world to save. We then see him and Katie leap into a battle scene which appears to be either Wakanda or Talokan from the Black Panther sequel. In what appears to be that very same scene, we then see Red Guardian, Yelena, Miss Marvel, and Blade looking on at another zombie, which Blade reveals to be Namor. In the next scene, we see a woman with an eye patch and a cyberpunk haircut firing upon the man, which does absolutely nothing, where we see him effortlessly slice her right in half, arguably the most violent MCU moment that we've gotten yet. I was not expecting Namor to be in this at all, for he didn't play too much of a role in the Marvel Zombies comics. Fun fact, in Marvel Zombies Resurrection, it was Blade who killed Namor, and he did it without breaking a sweat. Here's to hoping we see that in the show. We then get the first on-screen appearance of Kate Bishop, who drops the trailer's first S-bomb, further cementing the show's R rating. I doubt we'll get as many F-bombs though as we did in Deadpool and Wolverine, but I've certainly been proven wrong before. I would almost guarantee though that we will not get dance moves as lethal as we did in Deadpool. Only our boy Wade can move like that. Next we get what appears to be Jimmy Woo from WandaVision and the Ant-Man movies. He's dressed in his best Raider from Fallout cosplay, and is looking absolutely terrified as a zombie is being blown apart. We see he's joined by Katie and Shang-Chi in some sort of battle sequence. Next we get a zombie getting their head popped in an extremely gory manner, reminiscent of Victoria Newman from The Boys. Not sure which surviving hero has the ability to do this, but I'm wondering if it's perhaps Blade or maybe some Stark Tech using microwaves to literally cook the undead. We then get the shot of zombie Thanos armed with the Infinity Stones that we saw at the end of the original What If episode. I believe this was in Wakanda, and is playing out in a similar fashion to the battle sequence from Infinity War. We then see Spider-Man, Black Panther, and Ant-Man's head being flown around by Doctor Strange's cape, where they appear to go to war with Thanos. Now remember that these were the last 3 survivors shown at the end of What If. They are flying to Wakanda, where they believed it was safe, only to see that Thanos had also become infected and made it there before them. I'm assuming this is going to be some sort of flashback sequence that explain just what happened to these guys after the events of What If. In the next scene, we get one of the coolest moments of the trailer, where we witness Spider-Man once more in what appears to be this final battle sequence. He uses his webs and super strength to tear the heads off countless zombies. This seemingly confirms that Spider-Man did survive that bout with Thanos, but now seriously makes me wonder what happened to Black Panther and Ant-Man. T'Challa was a notable survivor during the comics and actually created and ruled over New Wakanda for decades after the Marvel zombies had left the Earth. Perhaps we'll get some sort of reference to this in the show. Also, what intrigues me during this Spider-Man fight sequence is that Spidey has his mask on. While this may seem trivial, I'd like to point out that Peter did not wear his mask at all during the What If episode. Sure, he wore his costume, but his mask was absent during the entire episode's runtime. This was probably due to the fact that it was the end of the world and there was no need to hide identities. However, in this scene for Marvel Zombies, Peter is wearing his mask again. Sure, he could have just gotten a new mask and was donning it to wear in the fight, but it does make me wonder if he may be infected himself. It makes me think back to the final battle sequence during Marvel Zombies Return. Here we see the zombie Spider-Man from Earth 2149. He managed to conquer his hunger, but he was so distraught and broken at the horrible things that he had done that he even tore off his own skin and refused to look at his actual face in the mirror. He started wearing his costume permanently at all times and dedicated his life to finding a way to end things permanently. Here he created his own team of good zombie Avengers, where he worked with them to combat the evil zombies of this world and ultimately gave his life to kill them all. Even in this same comic, he used his webs to tear off zombie Quicksilver's head, so I wonder if perhaps this Spider-Man did end up becoming infected in this battle with Thanos, and maybe he killed Black Panther and Ant-Man and was so broken about it that, like his zombie counterpart, he too then dedicated his life to ending things. It would maybe explain his brutality in the scene of him ripping the heads off the zombies. Now, I doubt this is the case, but it would be awesome to see and would be a great callback to the original source material. Next, we see two beings teleporting down to the planet. Not sure who they are just yet, but in the next scene, we finally see Thor arrive to Earth in a similar fashion to how he did during the Battle of Wakanda in Infinity War. Except this time, instead of facing Thanos, he faces Scarlet Witch and her hordes. Although I'm thinking that these may be two separate scenes cleverly edited together. In the first shot, Thor seemed to have his short hair like in Infinity War, but in the very next scene, we see what appears to be Thor with his longer hair to how he did in Endgame. So I'm wondering if there is some sort of time skip like in Infinity War. Perhaps like in the film, the Avengers initially badly lose to the zombies, and then go on a similar journey like in Endgame to get the Infinity Stones so they can undo the events of the virus. We then get another shot from the potential big battle scene where we see more zombies getting blown to bits. Perhaps this is more work of Shang-Chi using the power of the 10 rings. Next, we get another shot of the military choppers firing upon the zombies. At first glance, this appeared to be just a random soldier firing upon them, but rumors on the internet point that this might actually be John Walker's Captain America. Now, I actually think this one might be true, as his actor Wyatt Russell is confirmed to be in the show. Hey man, if we get US Agent using his shield to slice up zombies, I'll be a very happy man. In the following scene, we're taken to the big battle sequence once more, where we get this iconic shot of Blade Knight. Here we see the reflection of Khonshu in his blade, to of course remind us that he's also Moon Knight on this Earth. Here he's attacked by zombie Hank Pym and Janet, where we get this sick shot of him effortlessly slicing Pym in half, despite him being bug-sized. You know, no matter what media he's in, Blade always showcases how true of a Chad he really is. Finally, you've seen this scene, I've seen this scene, we've all seen this scene, as we witness our man Blade taking on a zombie ghost in what appears to be a subway. Despite her teleporting all around him, he counters her every move until he stabs her right through the stomach, and of course takes no chances, and effectively eliminates the woman by chopping her to bits like he's Raiden in Metal Gear Rising. One odd thing I did notice during this fight though, was that Blade initially rushes in with his cape still flowing, but then it mysteriously vanishes during the fight. I'm guessing his cape is retractable? That honestly just makes his drip even cooler. Blade and Piccolo from Dragon Ball are the two kings of aura farming. In this scene, he appears to be saving Miss Marvel, Red Guardian, and Yelena, who watch the man's finesse in amazement, where we are then taken to the show's title card and a brief snippet of the star-studded cast. In the very final shot, We see what I'm guessing is Miss Marvel, where she looks rather horrified to see a zombie Wanda standing right behind her, where things then finally cut to the Disney logo. So yeah guys, this is my frame-by-frame breakdown of the Marvel Zombies trailer. Judging from this, it appears that this series will feature some similar story beats to movies like Shang-Chi, Infinity War, and Endgame, and then kind of blend them all together with a giant bottle of zombie seasoned adobo up top. Sounds delicious. While of course I would love an animated version of the comics, this honestly does sound pretty amazing. It makes me wonder what they are not showing us, and considering that we got Galactus in the last Fantastic Four movie, I do wonder if he will show up at some point during the end, where we see the remaining zombies eat him and get his powers, and then go off into the universe, leaving room for a potential sequel. Regardless though, I will be watching the series day one, and will do extensive Easter egg breakdowns of its events and how it ties back to the original source material. I haven't been this excited for a Marvel project in quite some time, and I can't wait to discuss it with you guys. More than anything though, I want to hear what you think. What did you guys think of the trailer? What did I miss in my breakdown? And what are you hoping to get from this series? Sound off in the comments. Also be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed today's content, subscribe to the channel, and tap the bell icon to be notified of all of our latest videos. Thank you guys so much for watching. Remember, you are awesome and loved, God bless, and I will see you in the next one.